I mean, where do I even begin? The last time I made a video, Thomas Tuchel was manager, Roman owned the club, Russia didn't invade Ukraine, not that I want to get into any of the politics. I know I'm up to date, okay? I'm up to date with everything that's happening. The transfers, Todd Bowley, Graham Potter, Jorginho leaving for Arsenal. I'm up to date. I've been following. I've just been behind the scenes. But this game specifically annoyed me. And this is the game where I thought, right, this is the game I sort of make my return because few things need to be ironed out here. Now, if you want to know my personal stance on Graham Potter, I think it'd be absolutely asinine to be Graham Potter out. Absolutely, you have to be in. I'm sorry. I know some of you may disagree and say that get Potter out, he's useless, he doesn't know what he's doing, and I understand the frustrations. But given the mitigating circumstances and given the position that we're in, the amount of money that we've spent, and him trying to impose his identity and integrate the foundations and the fundamentals, it's only going to take time. And I know it's a cliche saying, but you have to trust the process. This is a new Chelsea, new ownership, new hierarchy, complete regime change. You have to give it time. Does Potter take blame for today's defeats? 100%. I mean, that first half was abysmal. We're gonna delve into nitty gritty in a moment, but I'm talking about the overall here. So Graham Potter, for me, he stays. We have to trust the process. He has to oversee this transition that we are currently in. Plus, let's think of it from a financial standpoint for a second. If we sack him today, it's going to cost us 45 million. Plus, we've got all the entire recruitment team. It doesn't make any sense from whatever angle you look at it. So forget about Graham Potter out. Don't even talk about Graham Potter for now. Let's focus on the players that played today and the actual overall performance. Because that, my friends, was embarrassing. Absolutely fucking embarrassing. Southampton at home. Southampton have just done a double over us. They are 20th in the table. They are in the relegation zone. Most likely they are going to be relegated this season. They haven't even got a manager. Their club is in disarray. Their club is in complete turmoil. And they have come to Stamford Bridge after we've spent over 350 million in the January transfer window and they've rolled us over. And it's not like we completely dominated them either. We got outclassed in the first half. How can the 20th place team come to Big Stamford Bridge and dominate us in terms of possession and shots on target and chance creation? It is absolutely embarrassing. I mean, there were so many tactical disjointments here. Felix was left completely isolated. And I have to make this point clear because Mason Mount and Joao Felix, who I rate very highly, they cannot coexist. They cannot coexist because they occupy the same spaces. So Joao Felix needed a sort of a Kai Havertz to be able to link up with. So for at least an hour, Felix was completely wasted in this game. That's why he was non-existent in the first half. Datro Fofana was our best player in the first half, and then Potter hooks him. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, the decision making is terrible. You keep on Mason Mount, and people say that I run agendas. I've said for time, he's technically very limited. A good squad player, but he's not good enough for Chelsea to be competing for titles if he's playing week in, week out. Mason Mount was one of our worst players in the first half. He stays on. Our best performer, Datro Fofana, gets hooked at half time. Make it make sense. So from a Potter standpoint, I don't know what the fuck he was playing out there. Kepa, couple of good saves, one of our better players today. Could he do better for the free kick? Personally, no. I think, Ward-Prowse is a free kick specialist. It was a good goal. But I expected better. It's something like, 2 wins in 15, something stupid. And of course, after that promising, performance against Dortmund, even though we lost, I thought that, you would see more progression today. So I genuinely expected a win today. I expected 2-3-0 Chelsea. And I've been let down again. I mean, why do I give myself expectation with this team? Why do I do this to myself? I mean, it's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. It's like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Seriously. 1 step forward against Dortmund despite the loss, and now it's 2 steps back because we got humbled by Southampton at home. Fucking 20th place team that's come to Stamford Bridge and rolled us over. That is absolutely embarrassing. Of course, Thiago Silva, Reece James and Cucurella didn't feature. They were not even in the squad. It wasn't due to injury. Apparently, it was just because they played consecutive games. Obviously, Reece James came back from injury. But from a tactical standpoint, as I mentioned with our front three, it wasn't working at all. It wasn't clicking. It was Enzo Fernandez's worst performance so far in a Chelsea shirt. Again, he didn't have much support. Kovacic has been injured for time. Those injuries haven't helped him at all. I would have liked to see Zakaria play. I know he's only come back from injury ahead of Kovacic to give that license to Enzo to be able to transition that play into the attack and, link up with Joao Felix. But overall, the entire thing was a complete mess. I have no idea why Mason Mount started. He was one of our worst performers on the pitch today. There were so many players. Again, I think that Kai Havertz should have been in place for Mason Mount. If you ask me personally, I think that Kai Havertz, Datro Fofana and Joao Felix would have been good. Personally, again, I was very happy with Madueke's performance. I think that he's a very technically gifted player. I like the way that he was quite intricate, the way that he was surging forward at times. Again, he has this sort of adaptation period that he needs to go through. But I personally would have started Mason Mount in this game. I personally would have started Zakaria and then Kovacic and then brought Kovacic on later on. And yeah, I mean, the performance in general was not good. Absolutely tragic. Yes, we had moments. Should we have got a draw in terms of did we deserve a draw? Potentially. But we're just not good enough at the moment. We're not good enough, and I don't want to make this a Graham Potter out video because I'm not Graham Potter out. If anything, I'm Potter in. I'm one of his ardent supporters. I think that in terms of the football that we play, it's only going to take time. Look at somewhere like Arteta at Arsenal. Obviously, Pep Guardiola took at least a season to integrate, his style of playing philosophy into the team. And I know that we're Chelsea and we should be expecting to beat Southampton home, and I completely understand your frustration. But there's no point sitting here, me whining and ranting and complaining when nothing's really going to change. Am I frustrated? Of course. Of course, when things have to change. Am I confident going forward? Absolutely not. And listen, let's say hypothetically, right, that Graham Potter is not the man. Let's say that we're going to sit here in 2 years' time and realise that Potter was never the man to begin with. Fair enough. But let's say you sack him right now. A lot of you guys that are Potter out, let's say we sack him now, right? Let's say we listen to you. Let's say Todd Bowley listens to you and we get rid of Graham Potter now. Who do you bring in? There's no one of high calibre available. Who do you bring in? Because anyone that you bring in after Potter is not only a downgrade in my opinion, but you are undermining Todd Bowley's work. Todd Bowley sacking Potter is going against why he even bought Chelsea Football Club in the first place. He bought Chelsea Football Club to enable us to reach the pinnacle and become one of the best teams in Europe, to have a long-term plan, to have a project in place. If you're sacking Potter now, that means we would have had 3 managers in one season. Well, how is that different to what we had with Roman Abramovich? That doesn't make any sense. You're undermining your own project. It makes no sense. You've given him a 5-year contract worth 12 million a year to Graham Potter. You've brought his entire staff, his recruitment, the database, everything. You've revamped the entire hierarchy to cater towards Graham Potter's needs. And then you're going to sack him after going for a rough patch, even though it's quite rough. Listen, the reality is there is absolutely no chance Chelsea get top 4. 1% chance. If we had any hope of getting top 4, we had to win today. This is the easiest game we're ever going to have. A managerless Southampton who are sitting bottom of the table, who are in complete disarray, who are most likely going to get relegated this season, and we cannot dispatch them with ease. We couldn't even score a fucking goal against Southampton. So what hope do we have of getting top 4? So forget Champions League football. I'm not even convinced after today's performance that we're even going to overturn a deficit against Dortmund. So forget about that, right? We're probably getting knocked out of the Champions League. We're out of all domestic cups. We're not getting top 4. This season is a fucking write-off. The only point of this season is to implement Potter's style of play. Imagine the rest of the season is pre-season, right? Again, we're sitting on 31 points. I need my 9 points. Give me my 9 points so we secure Premier League status for next season. That's all I care about, because as far as I'm concerned, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere this season. Forget about it. This season is done. You might as well forfeit the season. If we were going to get top 4, this was the crucial game. The only meaningful game left for us this season is the second leg against Dortmund. If we get knocked out there, and let's say we even overturn this deficit and we get, advance into the quarters, we're probably getting slapped up by City or some other team anyway. So the reality is we're not going to go very far. Champions League football is not coming. Chelsea's priority is to somehow convince Felix that this is a fantastic project, which I believe that in 2-3 years' time it will be. I think Chelsea will dominate this decade alongside United if the takeover goes through in Man City, respectfully. But our main priority this season for me is to convince Joao Felix to sign permanently, because he is our best player. Absolutely. Forget about today's performance. He was isolated. But Joao Felix, his technical ability, his talent, natural ability, he's our best player. Same with Enzo Fernandez. But in terms of today's performance, very disappointing, very frustrating. Very, very, very frustrating. I mean, if you can't dispatch Southampton at home, there's absolutely no chance. There's no chance this season. This season for me is finito. It's done and dusted. Today was a must-win game and we fucking blew it. That's 2 wins in 15. Our last win was against Crystal Palace at home, and that was I believe early January. So No hope with this team. Absolutely no hope. Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. What do you guys think of the performance? Do you have any hope in this team? Do you have any hope in Potter? Leave me your thoughts, opinions, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.